Okay, so section 12.4 deals with displaying images. So we're going to take a look at sections 12.4 and 12.5 today. Then I'm going to put you in groups to get you working on a project, or like an in-class assignment. But as you're starting to see, some of these things that you have to type are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is where the classic art of cutting and pasting comes into play. So going back to what we did last class, one of the things to remember was, and I keep talking about these 4 steps. The first one was you, in fact, created the controls you needed. And I think the only one we've done so far was a label. Okay, and we're going to start to increase that as we go. Then decide what kind of layout you want. And we've talked about 3 different layouts: horizontal, vertical, and grid. And I'm going to have you do some work with grid today. Create what kind of scene you want and add the layout to the scene, because we added the controls to the layout. The layout's now going to go on the scene. And then finally add the scene to the stage so everything displays. So I'll keep pointing out 1, 2, 3, 4 as we go through this. When it comes to displaying images, we are going to take a look at a couple of things, and and then I'm going to have you take a look at code listing 12.4. But first thing you needed to do was you needed to load the image into memory. And we did that using the image class. So again, this is object-oriented programming. And where do objects come from? Objects are instantiated from a class. Okay, that goes back to our chapter 6 from our last class. So we're going to instantiate an object from the image class. Then in order to view it, we're going to use the image view class. So you typed up this image demo, and I'm going to just kind of go through it with the book instead of on the screen. But under image demo, again, we have these 2 new classes that we import, image and image view. I already know what kind of layout I want. So this sort of goes in reverse of those 4, the stage, the scene, the layout, and the controls. So I come in, and once again, as always, my main is nice and simple. Make sure you don't forget this extends application. And again, you're getting a little bit of an understanding of it right now. It says there is a class written that I want to steal one of its methods. And the method I'm stealing is one called launch. It's a void method. It's on a line by itself. So as we go through this course, little things like this will become a little cleaner. It'll get explained so you can understand it. All right. Launch comes down, and inside of launch, there's a line of code that calls start, and we have to write start. Hopefully all that sounds familiar. All right, so when you wanted to display a picture, you got the image, like we said, from the image class, and then we created an object from the image view class, and as you can see, we passed in image of what we wanted. You typed all this up. You should have felt pretty good about it, and your balloon appeared. Not in black and white, hopefully much cleaner. And I'd be willing to bet out of the 17 of you, 3 of you went and picked other pictures and played with it. Hopefully you went and you played around with it. Any questions on what was going on with 12.4? Okay, no questions at all. Now, what do we have going on? So coming back to layout, let's have our first discussion about the layouts. We have the H box, which is the horizontal layout, the V box, which clearly is vertical, and the grid. And the grid is the one I think we're going to like the most. So as I jump into section 12.5, section 12.5, and the code listing just happens to be 12.5. Again, you take a look at all of the import statements I need: application, stage, scene, which I add to stage, layout, which I add to scene, which I add that horizontal box. Okay. I come down this time. I am creating like my controls down in here. I want to decide what pictures I want to use. this case, I'm going to use 3 of them. After I get 3 image objects, remember this is instantiating objects, I pass those in as a parameter so that I can view them in image view class, and I create 3 more objects. I object to this. Now, what's going on down here in lines 34 and 35? Well, y'all are fortunate because once again, you have line 33 that says, oh, we're going to resize the image. We're going to make it fit into certain areas. Okay, so I'm going to resize all 3 images. And again, you type this up. That's why I'm going through quickly. And if you have questions, you need to ask me. Then I do an H box layout. A horizontal box puts all 3 beside each other. What if I wanted these vertical? What would I have to change? Would I have to just change 46 to a V box? No. Good. Who said that? That was me. Yeah. I also have to make sure I go back and change the import statement. Okay. Remember, I imported the class H box. I'd have to import it V. So then you did this and displayed them. Any questions on this? Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. All right. Spacing. If I want to put spacing between my images, when I do my layout, I'm going to start with a numerical parameter, in this case 10, and it'll put 10 pixels between each image. So this then would be my 3 images listed after that. This will do a spacing of 10 between each one so that they're not touching each other. Padding, I can add a pad around the inside of my container. The containers are stage. Okay, it's going to be on the inside of the stage. Still no question? Again, in the book, this is a pretty good book again. As a lot of you figured out from 121, he doesn't do such a bit. He does a pretty good job here. Here's vertical box. Here is spacing with the pixels between. And then here, all of a sudden, you see padding around the outside. Keep rolling. Grid layout. This is the 3rd one. There's examples of it in code listing 12.8, 12.9. What do I have to do? I have to decide how big of a grid I want. For example, if I wanted to display, I'm thinking something along the lines of this. And let's see if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know that I need columns hold up a building. So I need 5 rows. I need 5 rows. And I need 2 columns. All right. Well, what do I do? Well, I'm going to be putting things inside of here. I'm going to be filling them with 10 things. Well, the only things we know so far are labels or images. Okay. But that's, I could fill in this grid layout. So once I decide, again, I now go and create all of my, I create all of my controls or pictures. Then I do my layout, and then I would add everything to the layout. Then finally, I would add it to a scene and add the scene to the stage. So grid layout is has nice examples. 12.8.